Hey guys, welcome back to Lightning Advanced Development Series, and this is Amit on behalf of SFDC Panther. And today we are going to learn how we can create multi-select lookup for selecting the multiple users or multiple records at a single time for our business use case. You can take the business use case like for creating an event or assigning a task to the multiple set of users. You can use this particular multi-select lookup component that will be the complete reusable. You can use for any object or you can use for any custom standard object that you wanted. So talking about the component structure, the component structure will be completely same as we learned about the custom lookup for a single record. There will be two components that will be a search component and a list component, and there will be the main component that will be called as a container component. And then if you say that the steps that we need to follow in the same, and the steps will be same for all, same as that we discussed while we are discussing we are creating that lookup for a single record. So let's go ahead, and in this tutorial we'll be using reusing the components that we developed in our previous tutorial. And you don't need to worry, you'll definitely get the links on the on the description of the video for both in a discrete manner for both videos, single and anti lookup. So you don't need to worry. If you want to make the different components, so you can go ahead and use that code for that for your purpose. So here this is the final output that we developed in our previous tutorial, that we are able to use the particular component for the custom lookup for a single record. So we ended up while we were working on the case, and we need to change the code for the component to display the case number. So we'll start from there as well. So what we need to do in the custom lookup controller, right, we are getting the records whenever user is searching on something on the search box. What we need to do is, as we are already passing the field, passing the API name from the component or from the application where we are using our component. So what we need to do is, we just need to iterate through the list of record that we are getting from the Apex, that we are getting from the server side controller. That means if you are getting 100 of records, we need to iterate through that. And then what we need to do, response value and the record that we are getting, that means if you are getting 0th record, that will be 0. If you are getting 90th record, we will be getting a 90th record. And then assign the name value, assign the attribute that is that will be called as name, and the value will be response value I. And then here in the square parenthesis, what we are going is square brackets, we are fetching the field name from the component that we are getting from the application or component where we are using, and then assigning whatever value we are getting from the backend to this particular name parameter. So now what it will do, whatever the value API name, here we are giving either case number or any custom field or any whatever the field we wanted to, it will automatically get the value, it will automatically fetch the value for that field in a custom attribute that we are creating here in our client side controller, that is name. And then for displaying this, if you go ahead and type 100 or anything, you will see that here we are able to see the case number for the cases. So now if you wanted to, now after selection, you will definitely want to show whatever the case number that you have selected. So for that, what we need to do on select event, what we are doing, we're just getting the field API name from the field name, and then I created an attribute that is called as record value here. If you see that, that is a type of a string. And then in that record value, we are doing the same, we are following the same concept. We are getting the select record here, whatever the record we are getting from the parameters, and then whatever the field API name we are getting from the field API attribute that we are passing from the application. So this is how you can go ahead and use this component. Now this component is totally reusable. You will get the code for this component in my GitHub repo, and you will also get the link for the GitHub repo in the description of our earlier tutorial, earlier video. So now what we are going to do is, here we will be reusing this component so that we can create the multiple select lookup component in a very quick and easy way. So for the tutorial purpose, I'm going to select account here for the object, and then here I will passing account. Let it be saved. In the meanwhile, we are going to discuss. As earlier, what we are doing, we are selecting only one record. So we were just selecting and closing the search box. Now what we need to do, we need to keep this search box open, and we also need to track whatever all the record that we have selected here or we wanted to, so that you have selected this number of records and these are the records that you selected. So now what we need to do is, as it has been saved, so we can just go ahead and refresh. We will create a attribute that we will say that aura colon attribute, that we can say that it will be let's say that selected selected record list, and then it will be a type of object. In this list, what we will be doing, we will be storing all the selected records that we are getting from the event. The event is that custom lookup select event. Here you can see that it's a type of object, so that will not be an issue while we will be passing the selected record. So here, as we know that this selected record event is let's find where we are selecting this. So here in this list component, we are registering that event, that is custom lookup select event. So what we need to do, we also need to create an attribute here to store whatever all components, whatever all the records we have selected. So let's go ahead and create an attribute here. We can also say that selected record list, and we can say that it's a type of object, the same way that we have given in our custom component controller main component. So in this list, we will be storing all those records whatever are being selected. So let's say that this record is selected. So what we are going to do, first we will get whatever the record has been selected. If the record is not selected, then we'll also need to fetch the value for that variable. So we can say that, let's say that selected records list, we will get component.get v dot attribute name. Sorry, that's it's an event, so we need to copy the name of attribute. And then what we'll do, we'll just check if, whenever we will checking if selected select record list, that means if there is any record, if there is at least one record, then this particular condition will be true, else this particular condition will not be true. So what we need to do, we can just initiate with the blank list, and then we can push the record in this list. So we can just put selected record here in this list, and in the meanwhile, we are not going to fire the event, we are just checking whatever the value we are getting. And then in this selected record list, if there is at least one record, we can just say that, yeah, just let's go ahead and push the record in this list. And then after, we can just console the list, whatever the list we are able to select. So let's go ahead and test this and see what result we are getting here as of the implementation that we did as per current. So let's go ahead and let me open the console here. So I'll be typing, let's say that I'm typing United. I'm getting, I selected 1, 2, 3, but here I'm just getting only 1. I'm not getting the existing records. So let's go ahead and see why we are not getting those values. So what we need to do, we just need to set back that value to the component so that we can store that value here. So let's go ahead, set that value in the selected list. Okay, yep, now we are good to go. Now let's go ahead, refresh the page again. and see what we are able to get here. So let's type united 1 2 3. Now let's see, still we are able to get only single record, but here you can see that we have array of 2 record, but on the selected record that we are okay, we are getting here through, you can see here we are getting 3. Why we are getting this selected record only 1? Because we are also putting a console here selected record. This is why we are getting confused. So we are getting the indented output. You can see that 0, you can see 1, you can see 2, 0 1 2. Right, so as we selected 3 records and we are getting here 3 records. So now what we need to do is let's say that for example, as let me show you once, refresh this page and I'll show you what I'm trying to convey you so that you can get the complete and clear picture here. Let's say that united, you selected once, it is showing 2, but it should only reflect 1, it should only reflect at once, because this is the same record. If I'm still clicking again and again, it is adding that record here again and again. So for that, what we need to do, as we have index, what we can do, we can check here where we can say that whatever the selected record we are getting here, and then index of, and then here we can say selected event. So here if we are getting let's say that and we can see that we can say alert it as a for testing purpose. We can just go ahead here and click on this. Now if I'm selecting on this and then I'm getting -1, that is saying that I don't have that record. Why I'm getting this? Let me check again. Select event, that is that we are okay, it's a event. We need to check selected record instead of event. This is why we are getting -1. That is saying that -1 indicates that we are not getting that value in the list that in which we are checking. So you can see the first time we are not getting alert because we are getting the else condition as true. Now let's click on again. You can see -1. Why? But it's the same. Again I'm getting -1. That is okay. We need to selected record. My bad. I'm getting making 2 mistakes today. So let's go ahead now and see if we are getting okay. One record, you can see that we are getting 0. If you click that, we are getting 0. If you click that, that means we are getting that -1 means that we don't have value. Now we are getting where the value is. So what we need to check, if this particular if I is greater than equal to 0, that means that record is already exist in the system. Sorry, in the list. We don't need to add that record in the list. If user is clicking on it again and again, we don't need to add that record in the list. So let's go ahead and now see what we are going to check here. Let's say that I'm checking united, and here you will see 1. Now if you click 1, it will only add once. Nope, it's adding. If I'm getting that value, why it is adding? Okay, we're checking the wrong. If I equal to -1, that should be the correct condition. -1 means that we don't have that value in the list, then only post that record. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try this if you are getting the correct values. You can say united. Okay, if you can see that we are only getting one length, that is 0, and here we can also see whatever the ID and name of the and if you say click on other object, you will get those. So here this is what we needed to do. And then next step is we also need to show whatever the records we are here we have selected here. So let's go ahead and we can show those record and we need to show those record here on the custom. So we have selected record list and on the event. Now let's go ahead and fire that event as well. So what we need to do, instead of selected record, we need to send this selected list, whatever the selected list you have wanted to send. Okay, so here we are passing record and we are also firing the event. Let's go to our custom component C. Here we don't need to now. Okay, so we will do this thing again. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we are doing here. What we are getting here on the console of the parent component, the container component. So I will type again united 1 2 3 4, but I'm not able to. Okay, we didn't save this particular component. This is why the event is not being handled in the parent component. So no need to worry, we just need to see we are only getting 3 records, right? Cool. So we need to show the list of these records. So let's go ahead and display the list of these records on the component here. Okay, instead of displaying this record in the component, what we are going to do, we will just display those records. Let's go ahead. First do one thing, store those records in the list, whatever we are using. And then instead of displaying those records here in the parent component, we will be displaying those records in the list component so that we can easily implement the close and the cross button for that. So this is the aura iteration that we are seeing here. The records, we need to show those records over here above that. So what we need to do, we just need to get one division above that and then we are good to go. So first what we need to do, we just need to test whatever the record list. These are the selected record list. Let's just post aura colon iteration. We can say that items in which particular list we need to iterate, that is selected record list. And then what is the item, we'll say that it's a where, not item. So we'll say that it's an item and then we'll always use index where for tracking which particular element has been clicked. And here we can use item.name for just for item dot name, just for demo purpose. Then we'll be making it centric so that we can use also, we can see what are the different use cases for that. Let's say that united. Okay, we can see, cool, we are able to see here, you can see united gas algaes and then united algaes, then Singapore. And if I'm clicking on this, the event is being fired, but that particular text is not being changed. So what we need to do is, first we need to show that whatever the component we are displaying here. So let's go ahead to the component library and find the lightning pill here. So let's go ahead and then we'll be typing component refresh sudo.app. Then find here lightning colon pill that we are using in our earlier tutorial. So we'll be using lightning pill with an avatar so that we will be using lightning pill as an icon. So here just using this lightning pill. Okay, so let's go ahead, and for the reference we are not going to do anything, and here pill label we are going to show the name of the item, and then here icon name we are going to use this icon name, that will be v dot this, and then remove the alternative text that we don't want to show. Okay, so if you wanted to, you can just go ahead and use the same value for that we are using for the icon name. And now if you'll check this, we'll be able to see the different layout here. So let's type here united whatever we are trying. You can see that we are able to see this particular, but we didn't implemented the cross button, so we can just say whatever it is. We can also put this under a particular section. Let's say that this is just for a single selection. We can just say that there are sub single selections. So let's go ahead and find some here in the custom lookup. If we will go back, we will see we can just okay, here we can just go ahead and find this particular division section here, and then we can just close those two, and let's try this if it looks okay for as of now as per our tutorial purpose, and then we will see. And here let's say anything. Yep, you can see whatever the accounts we are selecting we are able to get here. So now what we need to do, we can also remove whatever the selected account, whatever the things we have selected here, we can just go ahead and remove them. If you want, you can go ahead and remove using the splice method that I discussed with you. As of now, what we are targeting, we are just targeting to remove these particular things over there. So let's go ahead and implement this. So if you go here and if you come here, lightning author or lightning basic pills, you will get on remove, that is a handle remove method. So we can just go ahead and implement that on lightning pill, that will be on remove, and then we will be implementing the controller side method, that is handle remove. So let's go ahead and create that method as well. So we'll be implementing handle remove, and here okay, so what we need to do, we can just in the lightning label what lightning pill. Okay, let's go ahead and find some specifications, find some title. We can just go ahead title, or we can find name. We can just find name. So here we can just say that name, and then inside name we can just give whatever the index is this, so that we can get which particular element has been clicked. Here we will getting event source, and then we'll say that event dot get source, so that we can get what is the particular lightning base component that is responsible for firing this particular method, and then we can get index, that will be event source dot get v dot name. V as an alert provider, and the name is attribute, and then we can just put alert here. So now let's go ahead, refresh this, and after refreshing we will be able to test that particular things. United, okay, you can say I'm just clicking on edge communication, it should give me 1, it should give me 2, okay, and it should give me 0. That's cool, pretty cool. So what we need to do is we just need to get this particular value. Okay, we need to get whatever the record we have selected here, and then we need to splice this using the splice method, that will be splice, and then it will be index, and we need to remove only one parameter, and then we'll be setting that value back to the list here. One more thing that we need to do is we also need to fire an event so that we can send the latest value to the parent component, so that parent component doesn't get any extra values, any extra list of records. So let's go ahead and do that thing as well. And in the parent component, as we are already consoling those things, we can also cross check in the console tab that we are getting the correct values or not. So we'll be selecting some values here, and then we'll be removing and seeing whatever the value we are getting. So let's say that I'm selecting these four values here, and I'm getting four values here on the record. Now I'm clearing the console. Now I'm removing United Oil and Gas Singapore, and I'm getting three here on the record. That is the parent component, and let me cross verify if I'm getting the correct values here. That is University of Arizona here, you can see, and then it's as communication United States, and if you click on this, let's what happens it. Okay, it is displaying the list of all records that we don't want it to. So what we need to do is we just need to check here in the parent component, that is custom lookup. We can just check this is the event, and we can check if search param is equal to null, then we can just go ahead and put this response value as a blank so that no particular things so here. So you can just go ahead and check if search param, that is we can say that if not, that means there is nothing in the search param. We can just go ahead and put this value, that is without record list. We can just go ahead and put null in the list, and we can just put the return statement from here so that we are returning from this particular line. Let's go ahead, test it again. Type whatever you wanted to, select the records, still we are getting. Okay, we can just put alert here, and we can see what value we are getting here. Definitely I'm going to resolve this particular things because we don't need it this while user is working on that, and user will be getting. Okay, now click here. We are not getting anything. That means that particular event is not being that particular event is not being fired. So let's go ahead, open that search. We can say that search. Okay, we can just go ahead in the custom component, and we'll find the name of the component where we implemented. Okay, go ahead in the controller. We are passing this value to the controller. That should be, we should be able to get the search pair. Okay, not an issue. Leave it as of now. Next, what we are going to do is, as here the custom in the list component controller, you can say here in the list component controller, what we are doing, we are selecting the records. We have a list of records. Select records. What we need to do is we need to do the same things that we did here in the custom lookup controller. We added it to the record of list, and then we set the value for this. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for our list component controller, so that if you are selecting multiple records, we should be able to get the value as whatever we wanted to see here. Instead of, it will be selected record, whatever the selected record list is. Now we are good to go. We can go to our application. We can just change the value to the case. We can say that case number, and then it will be case. Let's go ahead, refresh the page and see what kind of things we are getting here. I'm going to type 000. I'm getting case. Okay, but I'm not getting the value for here. Whatever the case number is, I'm just getting the value. That is not cool. Let's go ahead to the list component. Okay, here go to the controller and just select a record I, that is name. I'm also consoling the selected record, so I can just go ahead on the proxy, and here I can just, its name, it is undefined, we are not getting the value. That is why we are not getting the value over there. Okay, it's selected record I, and then it's component dot get without field name. What is there in selected record? Okay, let's try one thing. Remove this 000. We are getting a value here, and then try what we are getting here. In the name we are getting the case number, that is school. Here we are getting that name. So if I select, okay, if I remove this line and go ahead, refresh the page, and if I type 000, if I select this, I'm getting, right? Why I'm getting? Because I'm using this name while I'm searching while I'm getting the value from the backend in case of search. So we are already using that particular name component here, so this is why it's already working. We don't need to make any changes in our code. We can just go ahead, remove those. If you wanted to, you can just go ahead and remove this. So this is how you can implement multi-select lookup with the help of lightning component event and the two components. So if you will definitely get the link of all the code in the description of the video. If you have any issues, you can go ahead and tweet me in my Twitter handle, that is cloudymit. If you want, if you have any other concern, or if you wanted to contact me personally, you can also email me at sfdcpanther@gmail.com, and then you can also connect with me at simplyamit, that is linkedin.com. So then thank you guys for watching the video. Hope you have learned something great here, how we can create the multi lookup, and the controller that we are using the same. We don't need to make any changes in the controller. And definitely yes, if you wanted to modify as per your requirement, you can go ahead, and if you need my help, and I'll definitely be happy to help you. Thank you guys, thank you for watching the video. We'll see you on next video.